Are you creating a project charter and need to know what all the elements are in order to be successful? Well, by the end of this video, you're going to have all the important steps I take when I create my project charter, and it's going to ensure your success. Now, if you want to master your next project, at the end of this video, I'm going to have a link for you that is going to give you a checklist on ensuring that your projects are right on track. Hi, if you're new here, welcome to the best channel on career advice and project management with a new video every Wednesday. I've managed many projects over different industries, different sizes, and I'm letting you know I found the critical elements that you need for your project charter that work like a charm. So if you're excited about this, like this video and let's get to it. Why you need a project charter. Well, failing to prepare is preparing to failure. And this is critical when it comes to projects. That is your charter because you're planning ahead. That's what this document is all about. It really is laying out for everyone in your project, from sponsors to project team members to other stakeholders, what the project is all about. And so it is important that you know this. This is going to be your go-to document that you're going to be going to throughout the lifestyle of the project. It's going to ensure that everyone is on the same page. And when people start challenging you within the project, it is something that you can go to ensure and remind people what it is that we're doing and all the agreements that we have. So doing this charter is so important, and it is something that every project, no matter the size, must have. Charter breakdown. Okay, I want to make this as easy as possible for you so that it becomes something that you just naturally do. We're going to break it up into two prongs. One is existing information and the other is new information. Info you got, aka existing information. Okay, this should be really straightforward for you because you're now at the stage of creating a charter, which means you're in the planning stage. You are not at your initiation stage. So at the beginning of the project, you would have been given a whole bunch of information. And if you weren't given it, you would have been getting it from your sponsor. And so this is the stuff that you just dump into your charter. So let's take a look at what some of those things are. The first thing you received is project justification and background information. This is really important. This is the why of the project. And as the project manager, when you were tapped on the shoulder, your sponsor would have told you exactly what it is you're doing and why you're doing it. So that is excellent and definitely needed inside your charter. Another thing that as well that you would have developed prior to creating your charter is the project scope statement. This is defining exactly what the project is all about. And in fact, it goes into a little more detail too of what's in focus and what's out of focus. Again, this is stuff that as a project manager, you either have gotten from your sponsor or your sponsor would have given it to you. Another thing are project deliverables and project assumptions. In the beginning of every project, these are things that are definitely out there. They're well known. If you're not given it, you definitely need to ask it. And this stuff, again, gets all dumped into the charter. Another thing too is exactly who is your project sponsor. Sometimes when you get tapped, that is not necessarily the person who's going to be sponsoring the project. So you just want to confirm exactly who is that individual. And as well, you would have probably spoken about steering committees. Who is going to be, from an executive perspective, on the steering committee to help remove roadblocks, approve really critical items, and ensure that your project is a success? Again, all of this stuff you would have had and is really important to put into the charter. Another element too is project timing. So you would have gotten at least a high level, here's when we want it to start, here's ideally when we want it to end. You need that information because there's a big part of timing in the charter that you have to now start looking at. And last but not least, you for sure would have had a conversation with your sponsor and potentially even the steering committee regarding priority matrix. So what is the project's priority with scope, time, and budget? What's a constraint, what's optimized, and what's really flexible? That's critical things that you need to have conversations with your sponsors and ensure that you bring that over to the charter. Now, I'm making an assumption that you've gotten everything you would have needed and you know what to get. But if you're going, wait a minute, I never got any of that existing information, holy smokes, what do I do? Don't fret. I actually have free training for you, if you take a look below, as to how to start a project off successfully. So definitely check that out because it's going to help you out tremendously. Info you need to get. Now that you've actually taken all the existing information that you had from before you actually started to create your charter, you've dumped it into your charter, which is great. Like, that's the whole thing. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. Now there's specific things that you just don't have and you need to create before you even present this to any of your team members. Now, take note, you may have to reach out to some subject matter experts to help fill in the gaps that you have, but that is okay and there's nothing wrong with that. So what is the first thing you now need to get in order to really finish up your charter? Well, project risks. This is initial risks, and sometimes it's something that we don't look at, but you really need to at the beginning of the project, because I promise you, you will know that there's some initial risks. And those risks may be more high level, like we have a tendency at this organization to really stretch our resources thin, and it's probably going to happen on this project. So you want to highlight that as a risk and potentially come up with some contingency plans and at least bring it up to the sponsor's attention, because you may have to figure something out. Take note, you're going to be looking at risks throughout the project, so this is not the only time you're going to do it. And again, don't forget, it's a live document. You're using it throughout the life cycle of a project. Another thing that you're going to add to is your project customer. Yeah, you would have had that information, but now you're formalizing it in the actual charter itself. So who is the department or individual or organization that's actually receiving the completed project or the deliverable from that completed project? Another thing you want to now really take a look at are your project team members. So you have not had the kickoff yet. You're doing your charter to prepare and have a package for your kickoff, and all your team members are going to be there. So now you really have to solidify this. Who's on the team? Where are they from? How much time are they going to spend on the project? Because let's be honest, in the ideal world, I would love if my team was 100% dedicated to a project. But that never happens. It's very rare that that occurs. You may have a few people who are dedicated because of the scope of the work, but usually it's a breakdown. So you need to figure that out and kind of negotiate that and put what you think is an estimation around it. As well as you want to take a look at project key milestones. Remember when I said the existing information, we had that overall timing, when did you want to start and finish it? Well, now in your charter, this is not a detailed timeline or detailed plan. This is high-level milestones. Now you may be saying to yourself, Adriana, how do I know this stuff? Well, as an experienced project manager, there are certain key things that come up all the time, and one of those are you're going to launch something, and if you work backwards, it actually gives you the information you need. So if you launch something, what do you need to do in order to launch it? Well, you probably have to train people on the new things that you need to do, so you have to create training documents. Okay, now if you're going to create those training documents, you have to take a look and update those documents, and you work backwards accordingly. So that's the high-level stuff that you need. Why do you have to do it right now in the charter? Well, I promise you, when you were told about the project and you were giving those guidelines, you probably got a date. I don't know how realistic that was. And at least with the milestone in the charter, it's going to give you some realistic aspects that you can start challenging or at least notifying project team members and sponsors and steering committees on. Another thing you want to take a look at that should be in your charter is budgets. Again, you don't have to have details here, and depending how big it is, but you want to have at least an idea. Do I have any budget? And are those budgets at a capital cost? Is it an expense, operational? So those are the things that you're going to have to figure out, and you really should have in the charter from a high-level perspective. Another thing that you also want to be taking a look at is roles and responsibilities for everyone involved in the project, all the way from the sponsor, steering committee, to your project team members, and yourself as a project manager. Your charter is a document that's kicking everything off, and you want to have some tried and true roles and responsibilities, so when you present this to everyone, then they know exactly what you're expecting from them and what they can expect from you. And another thing that you want to take a look at are project key documents. So on your project, what are the key documents you're going to have? As a project manager, you're going to have an idea about this. You're going to have your charter. You're probably going to have a work breakdown structure, action plan. You're probably going to have maybe some change control documents, maybe a risk plan, whatever that is that you feel that you need to be successful. List it out there so people know what they can expect that they can go to. And last but not least, my personal favorite on a charter is a signature. I get everyone to sign it. I love doing that, and there's two reasons for it. Number one is I now know who's read it. And then number two, if I get any flack from anybody who doesn't want to sign it, I promise you, those are the people that I'm going to have to deal with in the project anyway. So it actually kind of allows me to see, who do I have to spend more time with to get them to buy into what we're doing? So those are the key elements now of everything that you need in your project charter, both existing and new, And together, they come up with the actual charter that's going to drive your project to success. Now that you know how to create a top-notch project charter, it is time for you to grab this Why Projects Fail from the link below of this YouTube video. This is so important. Project charter and trying to deviate from things that fail is really going to lead to your success. So until the next video, thank you very much.